She thought her best friend was living the dream, a rich husband, luxury cars, a perfect home, until envy made her take her place. And she discovered too late the deep secret her friend had been hiding all along. Sandra and Anita grew up the way only true childhood friends do, sharing one life between two bodies. They lived in the same noisy compound in Sayulea, Lagos, running barefoot between buckets of water and plaiting each other's hair on Saturday mornings. Sandra was the calm one, gentle, patient, always thinking before she spoke. Anita was fire, loud, dramatic, full of dreams bigger than the street they grew up on. She always wanted more, always chased the spotlight, always imagined a richer future. But no matter how different they were, they moved together like sisters. If you saw Anita, Sandra wasn't far behind. If Sandra cried, Anita picked the fight for her. If Anita failed a test, Sandra stayed up all night helping her study. Their mothers would smile and say, "These two." They were born in different houses but raised by one heart. Growing up didn't change that. They whispered their dreams to each other under the ceiling fan at night. Sandra wanted a simple life, a small business, a peaceful home, a man who loved her sincerely. Anita wanted everything: big house, expensive cars, a rich husband, trips outside Nigeria. But still, they held on to each other tightly. By their final year in university, Sandra had started catering small events to support herself. That was how she met Victor, a handsome, well-dressed young businessman who came to one of her corporate deliveries. He complimented her food, then her smile, then her kindness, and before Sandra could understand what was happening, she was falling in love with him. Victor was everything she had prayed for: calm, respectful, generous, focused. He would bring her lunch unexpectedly, help her carry trays to events, even wait for her after class so she wouldn't walk home alone. Sandra couldn't believe God had sent her such a man. When she introduced him to Anita, Anita hugged her excitedly. Finally, our own Sandra has found love. And in those early days, Anita meant it. She was happy for her friend. She had no reason to envy, no reason to feel left behind. But when Victor proposed months after their graduation, Anita felt something she didn't want to name. A small pinch in her chest, a quiet whisper. Victor gave Sandra the proposal most girls dreamed about: a candlelit dinner in Victoria Island, roses covering the table, and a silver ring that sparkled like morning sun on water. Their wedding became the talk of Lagos, elegant, classy, overflowing with love. Sandra wore a gown that looked like it came straight from a bridal magazine. Victor stood tall beside her, smiling proudly. The hall glittered, the air smelled of orchids. And guests whispered, "Sandra has entered enjoyment. This is marriage." Anita stood beside her as maid of honor, smiling brightly for pictures. But somewhere deep inside her chest, something tightened, not hatred. Just a quiet longing she tried to ignore. After the wedding, Sandra moved into Victor's Lekki mansion, a white duplex with large windows, polished floors, and luxury cars lined up like trophies. When Anita visited for the first time, she was stunned. Sandra had truly stepped into a world she used to pray about. A world Anita herself always dreamed of. Sandra welcomed her with a bright smile. She showed her the living room, the kitchen, the walk-in closet filled with lace, gold jewelry, and perfumes from abroad. Inside, Anita felt something warm and bitter rising. This should have been my life, but she swallowed it down and hugged her friend tightly, because at this point, her envy was still small, still soft, still pretending to be admiration. At first, Sandra truly believed her marriage would be everything she dreamed of: peaceful, loving, and blessed. Victor treated her gently, opened doors for her, and bought her small gifts just to see her smile. But slowly, quietly, the cracks began to show. It started with the nights he didn't come home. Sandra would sit in the living room waiting, her dinner growing cold, her eyes drifting to the clock as the hours passed. When Victor finally returned at 2 or 3 a.m., he smelled of alcohol. And sometimes, of another woman's perfume. When she asked softly, "Victor, where were you?" he would glare at her like she had insulted him. One night, her voice trembled as she said, "You didn't pick my calls." The slap came so suddenly that she didn't even feel the pain at first. Her ears rang. Her vision blurred. She froze, staring at him with fear she couldn't hide,